I've thought about this so much, and I'll be super real with you, dude. It used to bother the out of me. Every negative comment I got used to bother the out of me. Here's what I realized. There was an interview a long time ago with Obama and Bill O'Reilly. This is back when Bill O'Reilly was still on TV. Bill O'Reilly was a Fox News commentator, and Obama was the president of the United States. And they had a talk. And this is kind of a thing you wouldn't do during that time because Fox is a heavily Republican channel. And so Bill asks him this super gotcha question in the interview, like opens with it, and he says, what do you think of all the people that hate you? Doesn't it bother you? Right? And Obama, like him or hate him, whatever, and it's not in the context of this stream to discuss that, but he's well-spoken, doesn't miss a beat. He's like, they don't hate me. They hate the image of me that they project because they are full of their own problems. They're surrounded with their own inadequacies, so they project onto me their image of what they hate, but they don't know me. They don't actually know me. It's just the easiest thing for them. I'm an anchor for them to go on. And that's what I finally understood. I did this like project where, because actually the comments that were really bothering me were on Reddit mostly. LSF is typically really mean to me. And I mean like just mean, like fucking like paragraph like essays and shit about like how I'm like a fail, just whatever. It doesn't matter. So like I would get these comments, and then so what I would do is I'd kind of scout them out, and I'd go back. They'd use the same name, like, you know, because you have like a gamer name, like a handle man. So I'd go check them out on Twitter, and then I would go check them out on social media. And dude, 24/7, 100% of the time, fucking pages and pages of just hate shit. Like weird, like, you know those weird drawings of like the incels that are also the Jewish people with like the gnarled hands and like the big teeth? They'd have those, right? Like really racist and like stuff like that. They would like, it was just really obvious that these are just not like full human beings. Like the people that hated me aren't these like people with fucking like wine glasses and green tea, like, the state of Twitch is truly deplorable. Indubitably, Devin Nash is quite bringing down the state of this platform. I feel that this is quite inadequate. Let me list my 400 or 500 reasons why this is inadequate based on scientific research that I have pulled up from LexisNexis. No, they're fucking hateful beings. They're because like the crazy thing that happens to people is when you don't actualize your passion, when you don't express and evoke yourself in the way that you're supposed to, by which I mean you take upon some kind of responsibility. You take upon some kind of thing that's important to do in the world. You solve a problem, you go address something, you go do something that means something to you. When you don't do that, there's some part of you, some psychology that makes you start being resentful of the outside world that is doing that. And when you see people start to achieve their dreams and start to unlock that stuff, that jealousy, that hatred, and that anger that you're not doing that builds up. And to be really clear, no one is not doing that because they can't do it. I don't believe that. I think everybody can do it. And I think everyone can be what I am, and everyone can be way more than me, right? And that's proven every day by all the number of people that are more successful than me. But the thing is that they don't allow themselves to do it, and they fall into like really bad habits and video games and drugs and all that shit because they're afraid that to evoke their true self, it's more than they want to bear. And in religious texts, this is represented as like the blinding light of God, right? I really don't get into this stuff that often, but for people that are just joining or don't know me that well, I have a really big history in myth. I studied psychology and myth in college, so I really like stories. I really like myth that leads into like historical representation of like how we think about things. So like the blinding light of God representing oneness, like our best self, right? Is you can't see it, you can't look at it because it blinds you if you look directly at it. So there's a lot of fear in encountering the best version of yourself. It's terrifying, right? To imagine what you could be. from what you are now is insanely hard and super fearful, and it's almost too much. And so people don't want to do that, and they retreat from that. But the part of them knows, the psychology knows that, fuck, I'm not living my most authentic self. I'm not doing it. And then you start to get angry and you hate all the people in the world that are doing it. So the people that hate me, they are people that have fallen deeper and deeper into this hole. There's nothing you can feel for these people besides compassion. Because all I really want from those people is that they actually break through this and find their authentic self. And a lot of them are also fucking 12 or 14 or 16 or whatever. And so, fuck, man, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was a fucking idiot when I was that age too. So like I was saying dumbass shit. And fuck, man, if I had Twitter back then, I don't know. Like, I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad that shit wasn't invented yet, because I would have said some crazy shit that would still be with me today. So a lot of them will just grow out of it. A lot of them will just like come into it over time, and some of them will actually hopefully break through, and then some of them will become hateful eidolons that are just like sort of plagues on the world. And if you look at the people that are, you ever go into like a city and they're wandering around waving their dick at traffic and they're like, blah, 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 like a lot of those people are like, that's the inevitable end for that. It's like nothing but, that's basically LSF. It's nothing but, that's like where it ends, right? It's like not good. Like it's just like, if you ever see a guy that's screaming at a post, right? Screaming at like a street lamp, okay? To me, in my mind, that's really not that far off from LSF. Okay? So I don't that's where I'm at with that. I hope that answers your question. Super long-winded. I first saw you on LSF and I was like, ugh, this dude's an asshole. And then I saw you the Scuff podcast. I was, he's just a business-minded asshole. That's awesome. Fuck yeah. I love your comment. Thank you. So the reason why I gave you such a long-winded answer is because, holy fuck, it took me a long-ass time to think about this. It took me probably months, and it's going to sound like a bitch answer, but there were times where like I would go on Reddit and I'd really have like a tough day as a result of reading like a really bad comment thread about me. There's sometimes be these comment threads of like maybe 100 or 200 or 250 people or whatever that are just like saying kind of shit. There are some communities on Twitch that I've tried to remove myself from that are particularly, I think, pertinent to this, and just kind of harbor a lot more people by percentage that do this. And so I've kind of tried to out of those very quietly so that I don't deal with that. It's gotten a lot better as a result of doing that. Do you ever take any of the comments as areas you can improve on? Not from the haters. I do from, you learn to tell the difference. So this is something that didn't we just discuss this with Gutex in our show? Where the way I look at it is I think that there is if you can imagine like a bar. So like, let's do this, okay? And then let's say that like this part, no, it's really like, well, you're going to draw like a couple of lines. So there's like this line, this line, this line, and this line, okay? So over here, in this area, this is like the 80% of people who just don't give it, like they're neutral good to you, right? Like most of you guys checking me out right now are in this category. Like, yeah, I've heard of this guy a few times. Like, see if he's doing something interesting, might come back if he's doing something cool that I like, right? Super awesome. Most of the people in this category, okay? Then there's some people over here, which are like 10, I'd say 9% of people. And they like me, right? They're kind of here most days and they're super pumped. Then there's like 1% over here that's like, holy fucking shit. I watch everything you do. I lick every single stream. I am a paint watcher. I would watch you literally stare at a wall for 20 hours. I would watch a GIF of you for 20 minutes. I've watched every one of your YouTube videos. I've subscribed on every platform. I'm a tier 3 sub. I'm a Patreon supporter. I write letters to you. Like, you know, it's like that kind of thing, right? And then over here, right, it's the same thing. So there's 9% that are like, yeah, I've heard of this guy. He's not my jam. I really don't kind of like his shit. It's kind of whatever. And then there's 1% over here that's like, holy fuck, I fucking hate this guy. This guy is everything that I hate about Twitch. His very existence repulses me. my entire universe is worse every single moment because this person exists, and I want nothing more than for him to stop making content. I'm an angry person who's also 9 years old, and I'm very upset. Okay, so here's the game plan. Okay, these people, I never ever pay attention to their criticism, and I mean never, not ever. Right? These people, I kind of barely do. I would say less and less. The 80%, if they have something to say, I take it very seriously. So a lot of people that are in the 80% right now, their commentary is like, hey, man, I watched a YouTube video. I came in here from YouTube, and I thought it was pretty cool. So I know I'm doing well, right? The 9%, I take extremely fucking seriously. So if they say something I need to improve on, like, I will actually go think about it for a very long time. And the 1% is the most serious that I take, period. So if one of the people that watches me every day, that's subbed for months and months and months, or actually just a person that's watched me for like 2 months straight, and I see in chat every day is like, hey man, I think you could improve on this, I will go write it down. I will actually put it in my show notes, and I'll be like, okay, and then I'll go think about it after the show, and I have a little button because I have a stream deck here that I can push a button and it marks a point in the show. So I'll press that button, and then I'll actually go back and I will go look at that moment or look at that time and try to figure out what happened there. So that's a very big factor in like how I think about this. But these people.